Nate, how are you, man? I've been good, Nate. How's things going on in your side of the world there, Nate? Is the country falling apart like ours is?
Monster Munchies, monster-sized.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
$3 each.
The world's just a crazy place. Jessila Shaira Novanti. Hello, how are you? Yeah, that's true. At least we got art. I'll take it.
Talk to your healthcare professional about Ozempic, like I did.
T-Mobile Guide to Moving Day. Step 1, get T-Mobile 5G home internet with 2-day free shipping. Step 2, get online in 15 minutes. Step 3, call a timeout indefinitely. Make your
Riley Solomon, right? Thank you. I'm trying my best to do my best, and sometimes I succeed. Yeah, you're talking about this top one up here. Yeah, it kind of come out better than even I was expecting. I was actually going to have all of these places with the lines filled in just heavy black, but then I just started doing some line work on it, and it just kind of worked out. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, all right, well, we'll leave it like that. Dubious animation. Took me a second to translate that. How is it going, dubious animation? Yeah, if you just search Instagram, just my name, Rob Norton, Robert Norton. That right there is what you're looking for if you're interested. With that symbol up there. That's me.
Are you guys here for the halftime show?
Oh, no. We're here to help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
So that's why the emu's here?
Yes. And the emu has a name.
Well, thank you, Dubious Animation. I saw that I had a new follower there. I do appreciate it. That's pretty much the only place I post any of my art or anything like that, besides my YouTube channel here. Well, thanks, dubious animation. The YouTube algorithm. I don't know how it works. How certain artists get certain followers. You know, I don't get it, but I'm honestly kind of fine with it when I look at how, relatively speaking, how well my YouTube channel is doing. I can't complain about that, so I'm happy about that. The YouTube channel's working. So it kind of makes up for it for me. Yeah, I'm making my own comic here.
You think this is a game? Open excavation in the town square? How was he one?
Yeah, it's just some like sci-fi sound effects in the background. I'm not really in the mood to listen to any kind of music, but I don't want it to be dead silence, and so I just thought I'd play some random ass sound effects. Just cuz. Not for inspiration, just sound. Just to have sound playing. Just so I'm not sitting in dead silence. I mean, it does get me thinking, and, so I'm not just sitting here mindlessly not having anything to think about, so I guess in a way. Yeah, 99.9% of the time I have music playing, but I don't know. I'm not feeling anything tonight. That might change here shortly. I might decide to play some music, but right now, just to start. No data stored. You're doing bare bones cybernetic prosthesis too? Hell yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to be doing a crowdfunder for the first issue of this thing. Hopefully sometime before the end of the year. HM, what's up, my dude? Thank you. Yeah, I'm all about the traditional art. I talk about it on my live streams and on my channel sometimes. I'm like, I get why people do digital. I understand it, but I'm all about the old school paper, pencil, ink. I just want my stuff to look like the artist I grew up idolizing. And I want to do it the way that they did it. And I feel like it's kind of like a dying art form, traditional art, so I know there's a lot of advantages to digital, but I'm forever doing it by hand. I mean, it's always done by hand, but you know, we all know what I mean. See, I don't know if I mean, is it actually more hard work than doing digital? My problem with digital for some people, and it's the people who don't understand it, is that it gives them so many shortcuts that I feel like some people are hindering themselves by taking all these shortcuts that digital provides. And so you're not learning certain things. But it's a tool like anything else, and it just depends on how it's used. Common Cars Pro Secrets. Hey! Oh my God. I know exactly who I'm talking to, but for the goddamn sake of me, my brain is completely blanking. I know who you are, but oh my God. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Ethan, Jesus, God. Sorry. Oh my gosh. My brain. just shuts off. But yeah, I'm a fan of old school, draw it by hand, you know. I'll never begrudge anybody who does it digitally, but just, and I like having original artwork. I like having a physical piece of paper that somebody can look at and be like, well, thank you, comic artist. I appreciate it. That means a lot coming from anybody that's been doing it. I'm just a loudmouth asshole on the internet, just barking at things. And then I have the audacity to get in here and start showing my cut rate stuff. But I always get worried. I'm online doing videos saying, I don't think this art works, and this is why. And then I'm like, and here's how I do it. People could be like, dude, you suck, bro. Which people have done. I've had people like find my art after they listen to me berate their, well, not berate, but, you know, critique their favorite artist and be like, you dared to criticize Liefeld and this is what you do? I'm like, all right, that's fair. But anyway, yeah, dubious animation. You could say that you can always Control Z for a better line. And again, I get it. Like, ultimately, I think the only thing that matters is the art good, you know? And if it's created digitally or by hand, whatever. If I'm enjoying the artwork and I'm blown away by it, that's, in the end, that's all that matters. And I don't care how somebody gets there. But for me, like, you know, I'm a teenager of the 90s. So I grew up just idolizing all my favorite artists, just looking at the work that they do and just going like, that's amazing. And how they make it happen on paper is just mind-blowing. And I'm like, I want to do the same thing. And plus, I kind of don't have any patience to like sit down and try and learn a digital device. I've tried it. My brother draws digitally, and I've tried to draw with his iPad and his whatever the program is, Clip Studio, and I feel such a profound disconnect. Now, I understand that just with some practice, I would get it. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to spend the money on the device. I don't want to waste time learning to redraw when I'm just still trying to figure out how to draw the way I actually want to. So just one of those weirdo remaining guys. It's like, no, I'm going to do it by hand, and I'm fine doing it by hand. And hey, Jim, the weird thing is you made me appreciate Liefeld's work. I didn't care for his X-Force stuff before your videos. Yeah, see, that's that. I'm still in that boat. There's a bunch of weird technical things you can look at and go, what the hell is this? What is he doing? I don't get it, but for some damn reason, it worked. And I even got in a little bit of a snit with some douchebags on a Liefeld bashing page, which of course I'm part of and I usually agree with, but I'm like, they were trying to like make excuses that, like, not wanting to acknowledge the fact that he was hyper popular in the 90s. I'm like him or hate him, it's the truth. And if you weren't there, you might not get it. And if you were there and you don't agree, that's fine. But the facts are he was hyper popular. You know? And I go back and I look at that stuff and I'm like, I still like the way some of it looks 1,000 times better than what he does now. So I feel like there's real genuine merit. And that's fine. It's okay. But man, these guys were like, how dare you not agree that he's the biggest pile of crap on the face of the planet and not say it about it. I'm like, hey, I rag on his work plenty, but I can be honest and say this stuff was interesting and has some merit, and he was popular. And man, getting piled on by the douchebags. Wiley J, we need people to keep the old ways alive. I mean, I kind of think that. I used to have this dream that my kids would like follow in my footsteps, but so far they don't seem to couldn't give less of a shit about comics, which is fine. It's not for everybody. They've grown up with a digital device in their hand since the day they were born. But, you know, they're 13 and 10. Maybe they'll get to a point where they'll be like, hey, I'm actually into this stuff and I want to draw like you. And you know, I keep thinking back to, there's the artist Matt Wagner, who's one of my favorite. He's done some of my favorite comic works ever. And his son is coloring his comics these days. I'm like, that's so great. How great would that be to be like a professional since the early 80s, or whenever he started his Mage and his, whatever the hell, the Grendel. And then have a kid and he grows up and he becomes an artist and a colorist, and now he's making comics with you. Like, I'm like, oh, it's so heartwarming. I'm like, I would die to have that. You know, you never know. But until that time, I'll let them pursue their own interests. While making a distinct point of keeping them off frickin' social media. They are banned from having their brains rotted by computers and internet web pages and social media nonsense. So, trying to preserve my sweet boy's innocence as long as I can. So Sean Phillips, I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's cool. What would I suggest for an artist who struggles at perspective and proportions? I mean, there's nothing that I can say that here that would make much of a difference beyond the kind of standard, like, you just gotta practice. You know, if it's human figure, I believe drawing the human figure is easier to figure out on your own, because all you have to do is sit down and draw a bunch of, you know, a human figure is a bunch of kind of non-geometric soft shapes and cylinders, and you just practice that. Yeah, if you just start practicing drawing human figures, you'll get it. You'll start figuring it out. In terms of like, if you're talking about like perspective on buildings and things like that, you kind of have to learn the technical end of it, and I am not one to be like giving advice on that. To my shame, I'm not the greatest at it. Like, I get it, but there's still some elements to it that I don't quite get how to do. Like, I see how some other artists do it. I'm like, how? I'm missing it. You know, I was talking about it recently on the Batman video where David Finch had worked on. I was talking about, like, this guy just seems to have understood how to do backgrounds from the instant he started drawing, or at least, you know, publicly working with Top Cow. Like, he just gets it. And so it's a more technically minded thing that you gotta kind of learn the tricks on. And there's instructional things. Honestly, you just get on YouTube probably and start looking around, and you'll start finding things that explain it. I can't explain it. It's just one of those, just start practicing, you know. Not necessarily perspective on buildings, but, you know, drawing a pose from a specific angle. Again, I started my instructional kind of thought processes with, sorry, I'm looking for let me grab a piece of paper. If I had to give kind of a brief instructional thing, and this is going to be embarrassing if certain art professionals are still watching, but yeah, dubious. So, like, I learned from the book, the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's certainly not a all-encompassing, comprehensive thing, but like the basic figure drawing stuff, they teach you to just like start with just stick figures and trying to work on the energy of the motion or the pose that you want with the stick figure, making it as simple as, you know, you got a head and then just kind of like a little boxy stick figure, and figure out how you want to get the pose from a stick figure. Like, try to get the energy from the pose that you want. Like, if they're standing there, or if they're punching or jumping, or no, dubious, you're fine, you're totally fine. You know, they're like, just do basic stick figure stuff, and you can find the stuff online and learn to like draw this stick figure in all kinds of, you know, poses. And just real basic like stick figure stuff is a good place to start. This is where you kind of keep it fast and loose and keep the energy in your drawing here, and figuring out how you want these guys to look. Just start filling up sketchbooks with things like this and get really used to doing it. But the next step, once you start figuring these out, is do your stick figure. And figuring out the head is a whole thing. You got to learn how to like break it down into eyes, nose, mouth, and where the ears fall and the hairline. But once you start getting your stick figure, and then you get an arm, they show you in that How to Draw Comics, like, start putting cylinders around it. And think of these cylinders as three-dimensional objects. Like, if a cylinder is coming towards you, like you've got a big round shape coming towards you, and then it goes into the distance, so it looks like a three-dimensional thing, if that makes sense. You know, and you can really force that perspective on it. But like, this is an arm coming straight down, and then if you want the arm coming towards you, then you got another cylinder right here, and make these cylindrical shapes. It starts forming a structure that you can kind of build around. and then have your upper body, and then you got to have your, your pelvis, your hip area. And then again, once you kind of start understanding, like you have to be able to, I don't know how else to say it except you have to see it in your head. A cylindrical shape, like if you've got something you can hold here and pivot it and turn it around and look at it from all directions. It's coming towards you. It's at a 3/4 angle. It's straight on. That's just kind of arms and legs and the body in a way. And then just start building them up. You know, of course they taper down when they get lower to like the ankles and the wrists and things like that. But that's how you start doing things where like you want like a head and a big giant fist coming forward. And then, you know, you got your shoulder, and then you bring it forward, elbow, and then forward and giant fist, right? So you got to like start figuring out these cylinder shapes coming towards you. And then how big you want to make that fist. Like Eric Larson is somebody who like hyper exaggerates the fist coming forward. Like he'll have a head here and like a fist this big, you know, and just exaggerates the energy of it by just having that fist just blasting forward. Is it important to do these shape practices from memory? Well, I mean, where are you going to get reference to practice these basic cylindrical shapes? Like, just start figuring out how you want to construct a stick figure, and then start figuring out, just blocking out the shapes. You know, this is just where you're just kind of coming up with it on your own. The next step is looking at reference of human bodies in addition to like, you know, you can look at comic art, but by God, do not make that the only place that you learn human anatomy from. Because once you start figuring out these shapes, then you got to start filling in the real anatomy and like I don't know what the name of the body parts are, the big, is it the carotid artery from the neck? I don't know. Why can I not think? What the hell, these collarbones, you know, have a center line running down the body, and you get the pectoral muscles in there. You got the shoulder muscles, and then you got to start figuring out where the actual, the shoulder muscle anatomy, biceps, triceps. And again, this is just like muscly male superhero anatomy. Like you got to, of course, learn to draw like old people and young people and children and fat people and skinny people, not just big muscly figures. But it all depends on what the hell you're interested in doing, what your goals are. But if you want to draw comics, you have to be prepared to draw anything. And some people, myself included, made the mistake of basically only learning muscular, like superhero anatomy, and then didn't even bother learn to put loose clothing on him. It's always like, I'm just gonna draw, you know, like superheroes in tights. Well, what about drawing like the guy getting up from bed to go to work, and he's just an everyday guy who wears like jeans and a jacket? You know what I mean? So you got to learn to like draw loose clothing on people, and that's a whole other thing, learning folds and cloth and anatomy. But so there's so many layers to it. But again, just start doing, you know, stick figure sketches and putting them in weird poses, and look up that How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. There's page after page of the artist showing just all these different poses that he did just by loose sketching, and then you kind of build the figure around it. But then of course you've got to go learn how to like move the human body to fit in this pose that you want, like having the figure come flying at you, like this guy, like his fist is coming forward. But then, so here's his shoulder, and so where's his back arm? Maybe he's got this one coming forward, and this one's going into the distance. So that's his back arm. And then, but how much of the lower body are you going to show? You could conceivably just show this much. Like his lower body, his pelvis, and his legs could be hidden behind everything there. But then you got to think about your composition. Like, does it look weird, even though you technically could say it's all behind him? So a lot of artists will like draw the one leg kind of bent forward like that, and then you can draw the bottom or the, you know, like the upper thigh of the other leg, and then put a little nub back there of a foot, and then maybe his other foot like right there, and then drawing the body like coming at you in a perspective like that. It's, you know, he's blasting through the sky. It's tricky, but it's all just practice, you know. I've been doing it since I was a teenager, and no one's going to ever hire me to draw a comic book professionally. I kind of lament that. I'm like, some artists just pick it up so much quicker and better. I've been drawing for a long time, but I'm like, some other artists like pick up and they're like 20 years old and have this stuff figured out so much better, and I'm here in my late 40s going, what am I missing? So, you know, I just do my best, and I just stopped worrying about anything except making stuff for myself. And I'm lucky enough to have a YouTube channel that's got a little bit of an audience, so if I decide to crowdfund it, I at least have a chance to get it in people's hands. We'll see. But you know, another thing to do is like think of a pose that you really love from one of your favorite artists. Don't look at it, but just one of those ones you have in your mind, and just try to recreate it. You know, you have an idea of where you're going, but don't look at it, don't reference it. Just try to recreate that exact pose. There's another little exercise to try. So, yeah, I don't know if that all helps, but it's just but here's the other thing. If your goal is to make comics, here's my ultimate thing. And I say this all the time, and any long-time people watching will know that I've said this a bunch of times. Like, if your goal is to like make comics and tell stories, yes, you have to get to a certain point where you can at least sort of draw it, but don't get stuck with perfection paralysis. Like, don't think that you have to be perfect. You have to be as good as your favorite artists, like the hyper-professional guys that have been doing it for 4 decades, before you dare to show your own work. Like, I say all the time, like, if you want to make a comic and you actually make it, you get to the end, you made it, you wrote it, you drew it, you scripted it, you put all the pages together, and you make it available, whether it's online or you make, you know, print up some copies to make available. You are so far ahead of all the other people that sit around and tell you about the cool thing they're gonna make. I'm gonna make this thing, it's gonna be so awesome once I get to it. You know, I don't give a shit about the masterpiece I never see. I'm way more interested in the comic you actually physically have and you hand to me digitally or otherwise, and I can read it, I can see it, and like, you completed it. And even if it's like rough and needs improvement in various places, trust me, you're going to get better the more you do it, and the next one will be better than the one before. But at least you made it. You saw it through to the end. You know, I've lost my patience for people that tell me, I've been going to work on this thing for years, and once I get to it, it's going to be the greatest comic series ever. I'm like, where's page 1? Because I heard that story 5 years ago from you. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's more about progress rather than the end result. I mean, in a way, you know, again, just don't worry about it being perfect. Like, do your best, you know, give it your best effort, but, you know, the journey is the adventure rather than the end result. You know, the destination is, you know, the journey's a big part of it. But if you get to the end, you get to the destination, meaning you made it, you made the book, you know. And I've read some brilliant stuff that's hilarious and charming and interesting and has fantastic ideas, but the art is by no means professional quality in terms of what you think you'd see when you want to pick up a Spider-Man or a Batman comic. But if you've got an interesting idea, don't let it sit in your head, festering, never seeing the light of day. Even if your artwork isn't the best, just make it. Just put down your idea. Don't let these brilliant ideas that you have in your head die with you. Put them out there. And eventually you might start making comics, and you might be happy with the stuff you've come up with. And, you know, like I said, I've read stuff that's some of the roughest looking art by comparison, but the idea was so genius. I'm like, brilliant, perfect. I loved it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like the story will carry it. If you can tell it clearly enough, that's kind of all that really matters in a way. So anyway, not to make a big old speech, but yeah, just make the thing, and we'll go from there. And I tell people, if you make the thing, and I will show it on the channel, you know, if you would like. You know, for independent guys, I have a not insubstantial little follower somehow. That's happened. I would love to show your work. You know, I feel like people, you know, we're always out there like, how do I make a comic, but then how do you get people to see it? That's the trick. How do you get anyone to see it? Well, if you make it, I'll show it. Crisp Red Leaf, you love comics? Well, you're in the right place. Daniel Gonzalez, what's up, my dude? Now there's a master artist right there. Dubious, that's what I try to tell myself, even if I'm not so proud or happy with my end result. I did my best in trying to get better, but put on top of this, in my case, this is 2D animation. I mean, yeah, just create. I don't know if it's a term that's been used before, but I've just called it perfection paralysis. Like, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. Well, then you'll never be good enough. Just make it, just do it. You'll be happier that you made it than if you sit around and then, you know, decades later, you still never made the thing and you're like, oh, I should have done this. I'm like, yeah, you should have. You could have. Let's just make it. Let's make comics. Yeah, the 80s black and white explosion was full of bad art, but they have their own charm, and part of that charm is you have professional raw energy. Yeah, see, there you go. And again, for me, those are like, you're just finding wild, unconventional stories that you won't see anywhere else. And that's entertaining to me. I mean, the dumb stuff I'm making here is just like straight up parody, adult version of like 90s Image Comics bullshit. And I'm hoping that the sense of humor that I hope is there will come across, and at the same time, while in theory the art is interesting enough to keep people's attention, Well, my dude, I am not a pro. I'm just a guy at home making comics. Like I have never been in any way hired by or done work for anybody that is a professional. I'm not professional. I'm just a guy like you, just at home, who loves to make stuff, and I'm just making it, you know. I did have, you know, some years ago, my ex-girlfriend, I was talking to her after I got divorced, and you know, I was talking about, like, I don't know what I am anymore, and she's like, you're a comic book artist. She says, you may not be a professional, you may not be working for Marvel or whatever, but you're a comic book artist. That's who you are. That's what you do. Even if it's not your profession, even if you don't make money at it, you are a comic book artist. And I was like, you know what? That just inspired me to just keep going. Because I was like, you know what? I am a comic book artist. But by the metric that I would call someone a professional, that is not me. I have not had any professional work. Though I've heard people say, you can call yourself a professional when you've been paid for your art, which in that case, I've been paid occasionally. I've had commissions and stuff. I did work for a small company that paid me some cash for some pages. You know, so so I guess if that's a metric, then I guess you could say I'm a professional, because I made some cash from a place that hired me, but they're just a small independent publisher, but they paid me. So if that's the metric for being a professional, then maybe. But yeah, HM, I've said that, and that's that line. I mean, that line I remember from Top Gun Maverick. It's what you know, Pete Mitchell was saying. Being a pilot, it's not who he is, it's what he is. And I'm like, that's, yeah. You liking the tech? I mean, it's just a matter of just like applying nonsensical shapes all over the place, and it just starts meshing into some bullshit greebly gobbledygook. So, but thanks, Jaro. Well, thanks, Dubious Animation. Again, I don't see my work being in line with pros. I appreciate you seeing that. I don't ever see myself that way. I try. I want to be. I think I'm okay. Crisp Red Leaf, where you learn to draw comics. Just by drawing, just sitting down and drawing. Just start making them. Don't know what else I could suggest. I'm humble. I mean, I personally think the worst thing a person could be is like hyper egotistical. I've seen a lot of people online be that way, where they're just so absolutely blown away by their own work. And then when other people kind of point out some flaws or failings or corrections or criticisms, they absolutely lose their shit. I'm like, if you can't take a lesson, if you can't take a critique and, you know, hear what other people have to say, then I don't know, a person's in the wrong business. Because there's no such thing as like, I made it. I am finally as good as a person needs to be. It's like, you're never as good. You always are learning. There you go, Jaro. Exactly. Joe Mad says, if you don't get sick of your stuff on the regular, you'll never grow. See, Wiley, I don't know. I've seen a lot of artists that I may not personally like their style, but I feel like it's just kind of like, why are they hiring these guys that draw like this? But I can see the skill there. It's just, it doesn't appeal to me. I feel like people are afraid to do big, bombastic, crazy, ballsy stuff. Where's the new Bill Sienkiewicz? You know, where's the new Mike Mignola or McFarlane? You know, guys who just come along and just do something different and go against the grain. It seems like so much of the modern art out there is all trying to look like a specific way, and it all looks the same. And yeah, they're all talented drawers, but I don't know. Farhan Shahorier. I probably just butchered your name, but hello, how are you? Dubious animation. I have to be honest, no. I have seen a lot of absolutely incredible art, but I've never wanted to pick it up. A lot of it's because I'm like, there's so much manga out there. I wouldn't even know where to start, and I don't know. It's obviously an incredibly skilled and valid art form, but it's not anything that I'm super personally interested in. I've heard of that. Yes, I've heard of it for sure. It's one of those things where, honestly, it kind of needs to cross my path in a way where I guess I could just sit down and go just look it up and order it to get a copy somehow. But I kind of have to be able to. I want to be able to hold it in my hand, something like that, and flip through it. I can tell within seconds, flipping through a new comic, if the art's going to interest me. And so I tend to not like try to track down by ordering stuff blindly when I don't know that I'm going to love it, and I want to actually physically hold it and look and see. So I don't know. I do have a little bit of Japanese comics on my channel, very, very, very little. Years ago, I got the manga editions of Return of the Jedi, and I just kind of randomly come across it at like a Barnes & Noble or something like that, and I just picked it up thinking, I'm like, this is gonna suck. Star Wars drawn in that ridiculous Japanese animation style with the big eyes and the bullshit like that. But I was absolutely floored at how good it was. And so I bought, it was like issue 3, and I was able to eventually track down issues 1, 2, and 4. And I showed them on the channel, and I loved them. In terms of like artistic inspiration, it's some of the coolest stuff. It looked so good. The detail, the textures. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I even remember the name of the artist, Shinichi Hiramoto. It's the only anime artist I can mention based on their work that I've seen outside of like the Ghost in the Shell guy and things like that. Masamune Shirao. Am I probably mispronouncing that? But yeah. That was some incredible work in that thing. The way they would draw the spaceships and the action and the energy, showing so much with so little. I was shocked at like how much emotional punch a drawing could have with so little there. And then by the same token, they'll do a double splash page of Star Destroyers coming at you with a Death Star in the background. And every bit of detail you could imagine is right there on the page. I'm like, okay, I'm learning here. Oh, Berserk, the creator died and you'll never get a proper... Really? That sucks. Yeah, sometimes a work is only really as good as the guy who originally created it. Like, I was thinking recently, like, I want to see more Sin City stuff. I want to see more of Frank Miller's world, but it doesn't work the same if it's not him. His particular brand of insane bullshit that just works. It's like, you know, yeah, well, I'll never see, you know, unless Frank decides he wants to do it again, but it seems like it was weird. Why did Frank Miller give up Sin City? Not to change the subject, but, you know, talking about creative works that you'll never see the ending to. I always wondered why Frank Miller gave up Sin City. He was like right in the middle of like it. It was like the biggest thing ever and just cooking along, and he just like, and no more. That's interesting. Did he not map it out so somebody else could finish it? That's interesting if that's the case.
At Smith's, we never compromise. You get high quality that's guaranteed fresh and down low prices in every aisle. With quality and savings that add up, Smith's shoppers never compromise. Smith's.
Dubious animation. Do I ever use, I mean, for my comic work, I try not to. If you're talking about the pages that I draw, I'm trying to grab some stuff here. I try to make my comic books everything from memory, and then I draw and reference and learn off page with just other sketches and stuff like that. But I'm not usually looking for reference from my comic pages, because again, what I'm trying to train myself to do is to draw like the artist I grew up emulating and wanting to be like, meaning, you know, it just all comes from my head. But I will absolutely sketch from life. Otherwise, that's kind of how you learn, obviously. I'm looking for, I've got a pile of, you can bear with me for a second. Let me move this. Genuine Comics. What's up? Sorry, I didn't mean to move it as soon as you showed up, but I was axed something. So, let's see, I got a pile of stuff here. Like, these are like my preliminaries for finished art. You know, there's me just practicing drawing pinups for the book that's coming up. That's me practicing inks over Jim Lee. That page there, that's more practice inks. I'm just kind of periodically working on it. So I'm practicing my inks over professional artists just to do the best I could do. Some Silvestri. Like this. You know, I referenced this. So, you know, I'm trying to learn how to draw female anatomy, and this is taken straight from a photo. You know, Instagram provides, and, you know, you're learning the figure and how to position anatomy and muscles and all that stuff. And I'm also trying to give it a nice, slick, clean ink line to practice my inking. I'm trying to see if I can define the form with as little rendering as possible, which is a trick to, like, get a good solid figure without heavy shadows and cross-hatching, just leaving it open. But I enjoyed doing this one for, besides the obvious, you know, obvious reasons. These are, this is a part of a double page spread that I'm doing for my brother's book of his characters. This just all kind of come from my head, basically. What else is here? This, I was working out the design of a character, a villain that's going to be in my next book. And so this is referenced from a chick online, but then I put her in this metallic sheen, and I had to figure out how to do the metal shapes. Like, I kind of followed the lighting source that was on there, but I just added the metallic sheen. This was, again, to practice drawing the figure, but drawing a metallic, shiny texture. And I actually kind of enjoyed how it come out. I'm not saying it's the best representation of metal drawing anywhere, but I enjoyed it. I'm already a not safe for work artist, you know? And if that would pay the bills, I would do that immediately. This is probably going to be the cover to my book, issue 1. I kind of keep forgetting that I even did this. This right here is like a future thing. More sketches, more sketches. This is all stuff that was on the channel. There's the preliminary drawing for that one I just showed you. This was, so here's something. This stuff right here, I was going through an old issue of Uncanny X-Men that Jim Lee did when he was drawing Psylocke, when she was first kind of created as the Asian assassin. And I was reproducing the figures that Jim Lee drew. This is a valid way to draw. I was looking at Jim Lee's figures and just reproducing them. I did them in a light blue pencil sketch, and then I inked them just to kind of get the forms down, just to see how Jim Lee tackles them. I love the way he did that figure there. This shot of the girl jumping, like figuring out how to draw the body, like how do you how much of the upper body do you show, and how much does the ass cover of the torso, and how do you make the legs longer and the hands going in the distance? It was tricky, but this is all taken from like Jim Lee reference, you know, just practicing everywhere. That's a failed experiment of a drawing that sucks. When I make my own comic pages, I try to do it all from my own memory. So the work on the page that I'm trying to do my storytelling on is from my head, but you have to practice from real life or something. Let's see. These are all the preliminary shots of the pages for my book. This thing's out of the way. Ugh. Oh yeah, that's like the rough sketch of the final page to book 1. This right here is an interesting thing. I took some old pages that I did when I was in my very, very early 20s, and I kind of light boxed the god-awful art that I had and then like tried to redraw it in my kind of current style while keeping the same basic layouts that I had. And this was fun, trying to produce these clean, slick pencils based on like art that I did 25 years ago. I didn't exactly finish them up completely, but enough that you could kind of see what was going on. But yeah, right here, this is another drawing taken from a reference. I mean, I'm never shied away from the fact I'm a dude. I like drawing naked girls. I'm like, who doesn't? Yeah, it was actually, yeah, you say Cyberforce fan comic. It was like the Top Cow was holding like well, it was before they were even Top Cow, but they were holding like, they had like a talent search. And so I drew up pages and submitted them to the talent search. And so I thought I'd just kind of redraw on them. Well, see, Dubious Animation, you say there's a really tricky angle. Where do you go to find this tricky angle? Like, I've flipped through comic after comic after comic looking for something to guide me for what exactly I'm looking for, and I can never find it. So I'm like, how much time am I going to spend flipping through books or online trying to find reference for this exact tricky angle, and I'll never find the exact thing I'm looking for, is what I've discovered. I can never find the exact thing I'm looking for. So I'm like, just make it on my own. Just like stop. Because then I find myself, I've brought myself to a screeching halt. I have to stop and I have to go looking and looking and looking, and I'm not finding it. And then I'm like doom scrolling for nothing when I could just be drawing. So I'm like, fuck this tricky angle, just make it work. Do the best I can do, and then move on, and maybe you'll get it next time. Haha, this is on my channel when I was reviewing a Liefeld comic. That's hilarious. More pages for the book. Oh yeah, I do occasionally pay a buddy of mine to color my work, and there's a splash page for my Masters of the Universe fan comic that I had colored up. There's a shot that was in my fan comic. And these are old. This is from 2015. I was using Copic markers. Again, reference from online. That stuff. I really enjoyed this one. This is one of the like hottest girls I'd ever seen in my life. And this was on DeviantArt. Mark Domowitz, my dude. What is up? I'm not up late. It's 1 o'clock. I'm on vacation, so I can be up super late. Oh yeah, some Mark Silvestri prints that I printed out. Let's see, I got a whole other pile of stuff. Yeah, I've got 3 full weeks to take off before the middle of December, so I got started this week. I got another one in September, and then one in October and one in November before the middle of December when it all resets. So I kind of save it all up. Let's see. Again, more preliminary sketches for a comic page. Finished pencils for a back cover to my comic that I had inked by a former Image comic inker. He did the inks on this, and it's on the back cover of my fan comic. More just pages upon pages of... Oh, that's all Jessica's artwork. And she moved away. Sad. There's a pinup I did for my brother's book. Oh yeah, there's the final inks to the last page of my He-Man fan comic, inked by Chuck Gibson. He just nailed the hell out of it. Thick. Jaro, my man. But yeah, I actually need to get this one colored. Chuck nailed the hell out of this one really well. My favorite ones that we've done are either that one or this one. But yeah, Mr. Chuck Gibson nailed the inks on this. It's all digital. He does digital inks. And like the zipatones, he puts in the metallic textures. You're gonna do Inktober? I never do that thing. I got too much stuff to do, like personally, to get done, to like be trying to force myself to come up with like a draw a bird. I'm like, I don't want to draw a bird. But yeah, this one and this one with inks. It's inks by Chuck Gibson. He used to work for Wildstorm Comics with Image back in the day, back in the 90s. He retired, and then he found my channel, and we kind of became buddies, and he's started inking again, and he's doing it for me, of all people. And this is one of my favorite ones that he's done. Maybe the favorite one. He even told me, like, he said he would feel completely fine, like, showing this around Wildstorm Studios if we made this back in the day. He's like, I would have been proud to show this to anybody working in that studio. I haven't looked at this in a long time. I'm still kind of amazed at all the detail he added to it. You try every year, you think you're 3 for 7? Yeah. I need to hang these up. We're the Silvestri Green of the group. Maybe. Yeah, Chuck is just awesome. Again, just me drawing, just figuring stuff out. This is reference from a girl that I actually know. And yes, her arms are actually that buff. So I did some drawings that art referenced her. That's her again there. I really like this one. I like this, the way the hair and the headshot came out and holding the skull. The hands I actually kind of like. You like that dress? That was fun. Who can identify the specific reason for these animals? Who knows who these guys are? I never did finish this, but I kind of did all the parts I was interested in. Mark, you remember me drawing this? Yeah, Jaro. It's Beast Wars, the CGI computer animated Transformers series from like the late '90s. It's so good. The animation by modern day standards is incredibly rough, but characters and storylines, it's maybe the best Transformers thing ever made. So you got Optimus Primal, Rhinox, Dinobot, Rat Trap, and Cheetor, like the main crew. I just wanted to draw these animals because I never draw animals. And I was like, I need to do this. And like doing these textures, the fur of an ape, the reptilian skin, the spots of a frickin' cheetah. Boy, this is some old stuff. This is getting into like, this is ancient shit from old comic ideas I was gonna do. Yeah, friggin' animals are difficult. This stuff is 15 years old. Yeah, this is old stuff, and I was really trying. To make this stuff look good. It's kind of okay, I guess, but this is ancient. I wish I would put the dates on these things. I never date these things, but... like I had this whole sci-fi fantasy kind of He-Man type universe here with all these characters, and it's like a Lord of the Rings, He-Man, fantasy sci-fi thing. It's an ancient sketch. That drawing right there is probably 25 years old. Yeah, I should put dates on shit, and I tell myself that all the time, and then I never do. That's from 2004. I got to meet Ryan Otley, the guy who was drawing Invincible, so I was trying to draw like him, or just draw the characters, and goddamn did I suck. Oh yeah, these are printouts of Isaac Bell, who does Metal Shade. Him and I knew each other way back on a website called Digital Webbing, and he was just drawing pages just for the fun of it, and we kind of turned it into a group project where we all drew this big X-Men comic. About 10 different artists made like a 30-page X-Men comic, and it all started from his work right here. Anyway, didn't mean to turn this into a... Oh, I don't know about that. I guess they're okay, but, you know, we all try our best, right? Ugh. My problem is I never throw anything away, so I'm constantly buried under art. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Isaac evolved a lot, but you could still see it in his old stuff. This is an ancient comic page that I did, and I needed to have this figure sitting in the icy, snowy mountains looking up at the moon. And, like, I wanted to capture the grandeur of, like, looking at a celestial body in the sky. And so I played around with spray paint art. If anybody's seen that, like you see guys on street corners doing spray paint like space scenes. And I played around with that for a long time. And so I tried to do that same thing. This is spray paint on here. And I kind of feel like it worked. Like, it looks really odd and weird because it's the black and white spray paint layered on each other, and then you put a piece of glossy paper on it, and then you just peel it off, and it just mixes the paint together in this texture. And then, you know, I kind of create a dark shadow side, let it dry, you put something round on top of it, and then you put the black around it and the white spritz and stuff like that, and you kind of come up with an interesting moon in the sky. Yes, it's huge, but... And this is old. This is early 2000s. Oh, here's one of my favorite sketches I did. This is from a chick online. Super hot girl. Long black hair. Kind of a bodybuilder. She looks so good. There's me practicing inks over Joe Mad. This was me inking a Mike Mignola sketch, and I ruined all the charm that Mignola has, but it was interesting to kind of try. Mark, I follow you on Instagram, my dude. I did this drawing after a dream I had. I had this image of like this muscular girl with a bow and arrow on top of a mountain facing off against giant robotic monsters. And so I just kind of drew this just 'cause. That was fun. There's a cover to book 5 of my fan comic. Anyway, I can put all this shit aside. Ugh. You like those robots? I was just trying to... Yeah, Mark, if you just go to your page, you can look up your followers. I saw you posted it on the Discord. And I instantly, like, just went and followed you. See, I'm so bad at the tech stuff. I was just, like, trying to come up with random weird shapes and just cobbling it together. I appreciate it if you see something cool in it, but man, do I struggle. It is not easy for me. But this was kind of fun. I haven't looked at this in a couple of years. Oh yeah, this is an ancient drawing I did of my brother's characters. The randomness is what you like. I get that. It's got piles and piles of art, and I just keep everything, and I don't know. Sometimes it turns into like, let's look at Rob's crap. Let me bust out all my stuff and start showing you what I got. Ugh. Yeah, there you go, Mark. I'm glad you're able to be on Instagram now. But yeah, post your work on Instagram, Mark. You do some incredible stuff. All your sketches that you do, it's crazy good work. Yeah, each page is going to be a $500 bill. That'd be nice. I ain't holding my breath for that one, but... I'm just about done here. My ability to sit in this chair for much longer is rapidly declining. I basically got most of the background elements to this thing done that I wanted to do. This page is, I guess, basically done. Mark Silvestri is selling 3x5 sketches for between $300 to $500. I believe it. That guy, he's. I don't think he can charge the prices that Jim Lee does, but I would take a Silvestri drawing over a Jim Lee one any day. And I like Jim Lee. Don't get me wrong. Well, this is basically if everything goes according to plan. This is going to be page 1 to book 2. And then page 2 is this one, and page 3 is this one. Well, yeah, guys, I think I'm going to shut down for the night. Thanks, Mark. I feel compelled to do the best I can, especially since, I mean, if you guys saw my review of Blood Force Mitch's, his Blood Force comic, and how blown away I was like, I got to step up my game. That guy is just kicking ass, and he's getting his crowdfunder together. I hope he's super successful with it. I can't wait to get my hands on that stuff. Well, this is the second issue of the Dick in a Jar book, Mark. I've finished art on book 1 in terms of pencils a couple months ago. I'm just waiting on Chuck to finish. This is book 2. Assuming that a crowdfunder will go okay, I want to get a jump on drawing the next one. I don't know. 4, and I'm keeping them at like 30 pages or so. Book 1 was like 32 pages. I'm not doing graphic novels like the last ones where they're like 120 pages, like, my last one. I'm doing like single floppy things. But I've just got this ridiculous story planned out to have all the like silly bullshit nonsense I've always wanted to put in like my version of an over-the-top adult version of an Image comic. Hence the Dick in a Jar. You know the whole story behind that. You were the inspiration behind the logo. But yeah, if a crowdfunder goes well for me, I want to be kind of jumping on book 2. I don't want to be like, oh, it's successful, now I'll start drawing. So, I mean, this is the guy. This is Killsnap, the guy who got his head cut off and his arms cut off and his dick stabbed into a wall. So he's been rebuilt. He's kind of like the parody Wolverine of the book. But, yeah, like the bad guys are going to be these guys right here. Like this guy right here that's getting put together is this dude there. And then the girl is there, and then we got the other two there. Yep, Killsnap. It's supposed to sound stupid because it's a parody on Deadlock, which is Liefeld's character. So instead of dead, it's kill. Instead of lock, I was like, well, locks, they snap shut, so Killsnap. That was the logic that I did on that one. And then we have Stab and Tuma. It's kind of like Schwarzenegger saying it's not a Tuma, it's Tuma. And then this is Laser Fag. Fag spelled P-H-A-G, which stands for Photonic Hyperatomic Guns. And they're literally going to be going around, that's an offensive name. He's like, no, it's not. It's an acronym for my powers. It's offensive, so nope, his name is Laser Fag. Oh yeah, there's a group shot of them again too. I did that one recently. Yep. And Kill Snap's the leader. Tuma. I like that, 2MA. I might have to spell it that way. I never thought of that. I'm going to steal that, Jaro. I'm going to make $1 million off your idea. Yep, photonic hyperatomic guns. He's just a guy coated in silver that shoots lasers. Like, they're nobodies. The only ones who are actually kind of characters are the guy and the girl. Kickstarter's going to I mean, that'd be funny. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of nervous about it. Because I watched a guy, a fantastic artist, had a Kickstarter going, and he missed it by, he was looking for $8,000 and he only hit 3. And this guy's an incredible artist that worked for Top Cow back in the day. I'm like, if he can't make it, how am I? That being said, my goal is not going to be nearly that big. The intention is to keep it simple. Okay. J. Scott Camp. Yeah, I actually paid for my copy of that book yesterday. I figured I'd better get in there before it's done. You know, it's expensive, and I wanted to get both, but I decided to skip the Wildsiders one because it's only pencil artwork, and which I like, but I want to see the inks. I don't know. So, yep. Got to get in there and get it. So I spent that money. And he's at what, $400,000? Maybe I'll be lucky and get $400,000. I'll hit $500,000 with my stupid dick in a jar. What's or DM to DM? What does that mean? What am I missing? And you know, Mark, I had some people hit me up when I reviewed Wildsiders, and they told me why he never finished it, and it sounds plausible. But as I was told, he's at 423. That's crazy. I was told the reason he didn't finish Wildsiders is because he ended up divorcing the lady that he was married to. She was a really hot girl, too. They were getting divorced, and she wanted, like, stake in that IP. She wanted to be paid for it because I guess the word was that she helped develop it. And so I guess he was like, nope, and just stopped making the book. And I'm like, damn, based, brutal. Oh, yeah, HM, yeah, that's a, word of mouth would definitely be a helpful thing. And, I've got a channel with 7,000 followers, and I'll be doing the, like, hopefully it's not too obnoxious, like, put up a quick blurb before every video, like, hey, by the way, I'm running a Kickstarter, blah, 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 find it here, hook me up, and then move on to the video. So I'll be able to shout it out to a reasonable audience, but, and I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to have crazy, over-the-top tiers or anything like that. I just want to print the book. Yeah, see, Mark, I don't know that that's a fact, but I did get that information from somebody who's in the industry that would know better than I would, and it seems completely plausible. I feel gypped out of an awesome book that I was enjoying, but okay, if he's not going to do that anymore, fine. But he just stopped drawing comics right there. Boom, done. Cover artist, and that's all we get. And I honestly get it. Like, I went through my own divorce, and the bitch took everything from me. So I was like, I get it. Like, I ain't going to pay for this. I'm not going to produce a bunch of artwork that you're going to just own stake in it. Like, nope, not making it anymore. It's done. I wonder if she's getting a cut from the crowdfunder, though. But anyway, yeah. I guess I know I keep saying I'm going to shut it down, but I'm going to. It's been fun, guys. Enjoyed chatting with every one of you that are still around. Thank you, as always. I happen to be lucky enough to know a good bunch of folks. I mean, Mark, that's kind of, I hate to be that guy, but kind of, if you do get married, make sure it's the one. But I thought I had the one, and 10 years later it was over. All right, guys, I will catch you all later. Thank you very much.